Hello, welcome back. My name is Linda Belzile-Brisson, and I'm really excited to have you join me today. I'm so excited to have a very good friend of mine, an amazing speaker and coach, author, Carla M. Jones with us. Let me tell you a bit about Carla. Hello, Carla, first of all.
Hi, Linda. How's it going?
I'm so excited to have you. I forgot to say hello.
That was a very nice welcome.
So let me tell you a bit about Carla. She's a change catalyst coach who focuses on women who want to reboot their lives. Now, I think that's like everybody. And she has a 360-degree approach to coaching. And as I mentioned before, she's a speaker, author, and coach. And she also has, she's the host of her own cooking TV show in Spain. So welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining. So Carla, can you tell us a bit more about yourself? How can you, or how have you been able to manage to put all of this stuff in?
Well, as you know, I've kind of like, I've lived all over the place. So I've lived in 9 countries around the world. And when you move around, you kind of have to start all over. I did a lot of those moves on my own, but I did a lot of those moves with a husband and children, and always kind of really reinventing myself at every step of the way. So my career after university was in IT. I did 10 years of IT, where I worked in marketing and communications. So I was an executive in marketing communications for a fairly large American IT company. And one day, like I just started realizing that I was traveling a lot. I was taking time away from my family. My youngest was resentful. Like she wouldn't talk to me before my trips and after my trips. And it weighed down on my conscience. So I actually took a change. I took a chance on myself and I made a huge change. And I quit my executive career. I quit my executive salary. I quit my executive status, which was a big blow to the ego. And I went back to school and I followed my dreams instead. So I always wanted to be a chef. Actually, growing up, I wanted to be one of 2 things. I wanted to be a celebrity chef or Madonna's biggest competition. When my music career didn't pan out, I decided to become a chef. So I quit my career, went back to school, and became a cordon bleu chef. And in fact, that kind of like spiraled into its own little monster. I did a sommelier course. I'm a certified sommelier. I'm also a cuisine and a patisserie diplomas with cordon bleu, which makes me a grand chef. And, as luck would have it, in the middle of my coaching, my chef school, I got pregnant with a 3rd little girl. And so, in fact, I had to kind of adapt because my goal was to finish chef school, become a pastry chef in a big hotel or a top restaurant, and create like a whole profile for myself out of, working for top-notch restaurants, and then open up my own pastry shop or something one day. And obviously you can't do that when you're pregnant and when you have a newborn. As anybody who's ever worked in hospitality knows, the hours are just atrocious and you're on your feet all day long. So I had to kind of reinvent the wheel, and I instead opened up my own catering business right off the bat. 10 days after giving birth, I had my first client and my first big cake. So I did the elite desserts for elite events. So, those sugar crafted cake sculptures and things. Everything was bespoke. So I created the recipes specifically for that client, the design specifically for that client. And that snowballed into its own thing. So this was right when, sugar crafting was really at its infancy, just starting out. So it got me a lot of attention. I started working for an amazing company called Taste of America in Spain, where they're kind of like a of American and English foods. And so I represented them and a lot of their brands. I started teaching for them. I did all their PR. So I was on in the media representing them all the time. And that got me my own TV show. And then, so everything was going great. And then, as luck would have it again, my husband was tired of the job he had, and he got an amazing opportunity in Ireland. So I very reluctantly moved to Ireland, not because Ireland isn't absolutely fantastic, but just because my career was really hitting a certain thing and a certain notoriety. It was kind of cool to like walk into a bar and people would recognize me. But
Yeah.
yeah, we moved to Ireland, and just as we moved, I found out that a friend of mine had passed away from cancer, and it was kind of a sudden thing. She was feeling well and everything was good, and 7 days later she was gone, and she left 3 kids behind, same age as my 3 kids, and it really hit me. And I reevaluated life, as you do when these kind of things happen. And so I discovered that I could manipulate food, I can arrange food, I could teach food, but I didn't know the value of food. So when I moved to Ireland, I took advantage of not having a job, of having to settle down with my kids and making sure that they were okay in their new situation. And I went back to school again and became a nutritionist. And then that snowballed into the whole like just loving the idea of helping people live better. I mean, when you start learning about nutrition, there's so much out there and so much changes in your own life. Like I used to drink easily 2.5 liters of Coca-Cola a day, easily.
Oh, really?
And I went from 2.5 liters to 0 without even noticing, just because the knowledge in me kind of made me choose other things. And without even noticing, one day I was cleaning out my fridge and there was the Coca-Cola completely flat. And I was like, wait a second, I bought this at Christmas. It's February now. So that went into a whole wellness side of education. I took coaching. I learned all about coaching and NLP and stress management. And so now what I do with my clients, this is a very, very long-winded answer. Now what I do with my clients is I help them achieve their goals and whether they be wellness or health or weight or career, by taking a whole 360-degree approach to that, which means we look at everything about life. I don't focus on just one angle because everything works together. As you know, if your job is stressing you out, then you're going to be stressed out at home with your husband. If you're not eating well, you're not thinking well. If you're not thinking well, it's going to be harder to get off that sofa to get yourself to the gym or having a walk or whatever. So it all works together, and that's what I do with my clients. I work with women who, for whatever reason, whether through divorce or loss of job or just one day they wake up and realize that they've been living, but they haven't been alive.
Yes.
You know?
Oh, I love
so
this.
I help them refocus their whole life to what they want to be or how they want to be. And we look at every nutrition, lifestyle, mindset.
So, I mean, and your life is extraordinary, and I mean, you've done so many amazing things. Probably some of the people watching will say, "Oh, but probably she came from a fantastic, she probably comes from fantastic beginnings." Or she probably had something going on for her that really helped this happen. Can you talk about that? Like, can you dispel that? Because I find that a lot of people make a lot of excuses that aren't always valid. So what are your thoughts about that?
Okay, so well, one of the things about me is I don't like excuses. There's that saying, when you want something bad enough, you either get results or you make excuses, right?
Yeah.
You make it happen or you make excuses. And I choose to make things happen. So, and as far as my beginnings go, I was from a fairly typical family. We weren't hard done by financially. We weren't wealthy either, but there was, we didn't suffer. My sister and I basically had whatever we needed. And I come from a very, very big Portuguese family. And I grew up in Montreal. So very big Portuguese family. And, I battled the same things that a lot of kids battle. I was picked on like crazy at school, so I had to learn to defend myself. I was bullied, so I had to learn to stand up for myself. I was, and it was the 70s. Okay, so now you all know my age. It was the 70s. We didn't have all this like child psychiatry and child psychology and what's good and what's bad. And if you do this and if you say that, you're just going to screw up your kids. Like, there was none of that. So our parents did the best they could, and my mom and my dad, they probably weren't the typical parents. My dad worked shifts. So he was gone a lot overnight, or he was gone a lot during the day, but it was always 12-hour shifts. So he would come home, he'd be exhausted. He would help out wherever he could. But then my mom was alone a lot with my sister and I, and she had her own work issues. So she was stressed out. And, she took out a lot of that anxiety and that stress out on my sister and I, as many parents do. It's the normal thing, right? We're all human.
Yeah.
And so my sister and I grew up like in an environment that was more stressful, I think, on us than one would hope for their child. But my sister and I are very different. It's one of the things I tell my clients as well, is that, like, my sister and I, for instance, there's only two of us. So we grew up in the same house, the same mindset, the same mind frame being thrown at us every day. But my sister and I are very, very, very different. Apart from the genetics, if you met us, you'd have a hard time believing that we're sisters because we're so different. Cute. So, it's not the circumstances we grow up in or the circumstances that we're in now that matter. It's what you choose to do with them. And that's always been, that's pretty much always been my approach to life, really. There's been moments in my life that have been really, really, really tough. Like, as you know, Linda, 2 years ago, just after we moved to Ireland, my 13-year-long marriage came to an abrupt end, leaving me here in a country where I knew nobody and without a husband after I'd given up my career. So, the natural human thing to do is to just go like, crap, this life sucks. What am I going to do? Like,
yeah.
But for me, and in part because I've done a lot of self-development in my adulthood, it's more about like, okay, this has happened, accept it. And what's the next step I can do to improve?
Yes. I love that. I love that's, and I just want to pick up on that accept it piece, because so many people will spend so long resisting, right? That resistance just like kills you.
Yeah. Well, that's the basis of a lot of stress, right? So when we're stressed out, it's because our internal belief system of how we think the world should be doesn't match up with reality.
Yes.
So acceptance is a really, really big part of it. Is the world is what it is. People are going to do what they're going to do. They're going to say what they're going to say. It's neither good nor bad. It just is what it is. Yeah. And the less we take it as a personal attack, and the more we can accept it for what it is, just a thing, then the easier it is to just move on with what makes us happy and not be affected by what life throws at us. Because at the end of the day, they're all just tests. And you can fail the test and sit there and complain about the status of your life, or you can overcome and make yourself stronger. So,
and what's your thinking around how people can actually do exactly that, overcome what's come at them? Because, if somebody's in a state of, and I'll use the term of victimhood or maybe even shock, I don't know. But, if somebody's in that state and they're really trying to figure out, like, now what do I do? Or they're holding on to, this should have been this way or should have been that way, or whatever, whatever the situation may be. What's your thought about how they can overcome that from a mindset perspective?
Okay, well, the should have beens, when you start saying, or when you start thinking, oh, it should have been like that, it was supposed to be like that, that right away, boom, it should be a trigger that your belief system is different from reality. And so self-evaluating that is I think a first step in realizing and accepting what's going on. So there are no should have beens. Like, even after spending 15, 20, 40 years with one person, you're still different people, right? You might have the same end goals, but there still might be a little discrepancies in how you each think it should happen, right? And if you can't accept what's going on, then you're spending more energy and time trying to fix something that doesn't need fixing, or that isn't going to get changed because it's already happened, and it just is what it is, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And we live in a world right now where there's like information overload. People are constantly bombarding us, and apart from things like Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, which is all fake. I mean, people don't put up their crappy moments unless they're the kind of people who want to feel like a victim and need that kind of support from the external world. people generally put their good moments, right? They're not going to put that crappy selfie of themselves. They're going to put that good selfie of themselves that has gone through a million filters where everybody's skin looks like plastic, right? So it's not reality. So we got this side kind of bombarding us with fakeness. And then we have the whole commercial world out there where people are constantly trying to sell us something, even when we're not aware of it. And it's all messaging. Like we're constantly being bombarded with, this is good, this is bad, this is good, this is bad, this is good. Like, who says?
Yeah.
Right? Diet, for instance, is a really good one, I think, because, there's this thing where you have to lose weight to be happy. You have to lose weight to achieve this. You have to
or once I lose weight, I will have the life of my dreams and I'll be happy.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, if you look around you at the people who are the happiest or the people who are the most successful, they come in all shapes and sizes. There's no formula that if you do A, B, C, D, E, then you'll get the results you want. And we're constantly being bombarded. So it's good to evaluate. I think at the end of the day, whatever you believe is what's most important. So if your belief system, so how can I say this? If your belief system isn't positive, isn't getting you where you want to go, then rewrite your belief system. Rewrite that story you keep telling yourself. I think I told you, one of the stories I tell people a lot is, when I was, I'm fairly petite, despite having 3 kids and everything, I'm quite petite, and
I can vouch for that.
And in fact, I'm so petite that for most of my adulthood, I could still shop in the children's department, which is terrible. But
it can be fun. It can be fun.
Yeah, for Halloween. Yeah. But when I was 16, that's when I started to put on weight. And so, like I mentioned earlier, I worked in hotels and restaurants in my youth, and often the restaurants, they'll feed you. So, when I was 21, 22, I was in university, I waitressed in this amazing Italian restaurant. And I would have a big bowl of pasta before my shift, a big bowl of pasta after my shift. And then throughout my shift, I'd be nibbling on the homemade bread that I would dip in olive oil. Constantly. So you're talking about a lot of starch, a lot of gluten, a lot of carbs, and a lot of oils and fat and cream and so all these things that we now know actually are good fats for you, but still in excess when you're 5'4" or 1.63 meters. There's if you're putting in more calories than your body can withstand, kind of thing. There's an equation that says you should be putting on weight, and I did. From the age of 16 to 22, I kept putting on weight and more weight and more weight. And every time I'd go home, my mom would say, you keep eating like that, by the time you're 22, you're going to be fat. You're going to be fat by the time you're 22. And this message kept, being pounded into me every single day. And when I was 22, I was 160, 170 pounds, which for 5'4" is quite a bit. So by Canadian standards, that was a size 11. So it's like size 9, size 11. That's what I used to wear. And then one day I was in my mom's kitchen, and again, I was nibbling on bread. And she's like, you keep eating like that. You eat too much. You're going to get fat. That's what happened when I turned 22. And it dawned on me. When my mom was 22, she had me.
Yeah.
And like many women, especially if you don't breastfeed, you struggle with weight loss after giving birth, right? So that's what happened to my mom. Her body changed because she gave birth to me, but there was no reason why 22 should be a magical number where I would suddenly be fat, quote unquote,
Unless that's what you really believe.
Exactly. But the fact that this was being pounded into me for 5 years, 6 years, made it happen. And so I remember telling my mom, that doesn't make any sense at all. And boom, like that, my mindset around food completely changed. And it actually became a joke where I would sit at Christmas, for instance, I sit down in front of the turkey and the roast and the whatever's, and I tell myself, this food is going to make me skinny. And it doesn't matter what I eat. I don't believe it's going to make me fat. I actually do not believe that food will put any weight on me.
And you continue, I mean, you literally say this before every meal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you continue to say it now, like today.
I don't say it at every meal because I do eat fairly healthy, and because it is such a part of me. I honestly do not believe that I can gain weight, and I've had everything tested, my thyroids and everything, just to make sure I don't have an actual problem.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
But
it's not that you've never gained weight; it's just that you've changed your mindset.
Exactly. So after I changed that when I was 22, it was like in August or September when that happened. By the time Christmas came along, I was like 110 pounds for no other reason than the fact that I completely changed my mindsets around food.
I love this.
And
I love this.
my
You're still working at your Italian restaurant?
Yeah, I'm still working at my Italian restaurant.
Eating the pasta
Yeah.
and the bread.
Yeah. And my ex-boyfriend, my boyfriend at the time, his mom actually had a whole family intervention because she was worried that I was like eating and throwing up or something afterwards. And I'm like, what? No, I love food. I spent an hour cooking and then 20 minutes eating. I'm not going to waste all that energy to throw up afterwards. Like, so for me, you know, like that to me was a huge thing. Like I became I'm a size 0 now still, you know, and I think a lot of that is because of the mindset. Like, I think our mind sets the stage for whatever it is we're going to achieve. And it doesn't matter if it's exercise or health, like diet, or it doesn't matter. If you don't believe you can, then you won't.
That's right.
I think Ford, what's his name? I can't remember his first name, but Henry Ford, right? He said, if you think you can or you think you can't, it doesn't matter. You've already decided, right?
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah. If you think you can do it, you're right. If you think you can't do it, you're right. So pick. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, totally.
And I hear a lot of my clients especially with the food thing, I'll say go whole fat, because full fat and low fat has been, no fat and low fat has been proven that it's actually not good for you. There's more sugar, there's more preservatives, there's more of the stuff that's not good for us. And they actually help us to gain weight. And it's a struggle. Like it's a struggle for the clients to like relax and go back to basics, you know?
Yeah. And you wrote a book. You wrote a book about with loads of tips and tricks on how people can sort of deal with having a healthier lifestyle. Do you want to talk about your book?
Sure. So my book is called Create More Health and Happiness in 7 days. And it's a 7-day tip-a-day guide. So the way that works is it's a small book. You can get it on Amazon. And so what it does is every single day you have one new action item to add to your day or to change in your day. So I've made it so that it's really easy. It's not, every day isn't something nutrition or every day isn't something lifestyle. It changes. So the day 1 is drink more water. And I go through why it's important to drink more water, how you can remember to drink more water, because I think everybody knows we have to drink more water, but to actually do it throughout the day, every day, is where the problem arises, because we're all set in our routines, right? So the book goes through changing something different every day. So 1 day is nutrition, 1 day is mindset, 1 day is lifestyle, 1 day is exercise, and then we'll go back to nutrition. So by the end of the 7 days, you've changed 7 basic things in a very, very easy manner. And if you keep it up, you'll feel better and happier and healthier because you've already changed like the core basics. Now, the book is small. I've made it so that every day you never have more than 2 minutes of reading. And I recommend people read the night before so they know what they're going to be doing the next day. Yeah. And at the end of the book, it comes with a bunch of resources just to help out as well. Like if you are going to add more vegetables in your diet, it's good to know how vegetables work because they're color coded by nature, and every color has a different purpose, right? So I have a color coding chart at the end. The lifestyle, like, so how do you add more exercise? How do you drink more water? Like these are all things that the book.
So can you share a color coding tip with the people watching?
Right. So things that are like red-based, red and blue, they're powerful antioxidants. In fact, like blueberries, there's not a lot of fruits and vegetables that have that deep purple blue color. That's a very, very powerful antioxidant. And antioxidants are good to like fight off radical cells, which are the cells that then over time create tumors and
disease
Yeah. So obviously, if you ate 10 buckets of blueberries a day, that's not going to save you because you need a balanced diet. But generally, this is why they say your plate should be a rainbow of colors. So you should have as many colors as you can get on a plate per meal, because the more colors you get, the more of a spectrum of benefits you're getting from it. So.
And they interact with each other to increase the benefits. Is that right?
Yeah. So nowadays we tend to eat a lot of bland colored foods, like a lot of beiges, a lot of whites, things like white pasta, white rice, white potatoes, and the browns, the beiges come into like everything being breaded or deep fried. So the blander the color, the less nutrients there are to get from it. The more vibrant the color, the deeper the color, then the more nutrients there are. But I go through all of that in my book. So in a very easy way, like I said, it's never more than 2-3 minutes of reading a day.
Yeah. And so what's going on? What's exciting in your life right now for you?
Well, as you mentioned earlier, I work with one-on-one clients. So I work with women who are looking to make changes in their lives. And it doesn't have to be in a momentous event. Like it doesn't have to be after some tragedy or something big happens. If you do find yourself kind of waking up every morning and you're kind of going through the motions of the routine of life and it's kind of lost a little bit of its pizzazz, its oomph, then that's when you call me.
Yes.
And we look at everything going on and we kind of like revamp that and give you more energy and give you more life and, give you more adventure or love or travel or whatever it is you're looking at. And so for private clients, I do offer 30-minute coaching. You can get that from my website, which is carlamjones.com.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm also launching into the corporate world. So with corporate wellness events, corporate wellness talks. And the goal there is really to decrease absenteeism and increase productivity without it really affecting your bottom line. Because a lot of companies are really into like the go, 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 go. And employees then end up being demoralized, exhausted, stressed out. And these are all really, fairly basic things to address from a corporate perspective that at the end of the day have a really huge impact on the well-being of the company, because your employees are your biggest asset. If you don't have employees, then
if they're all sick, if they're all homesick, it kind of makes it difficult to.
So 2017 is all about launching my corporate wellness programs.
Awesome. That's awesome. And so people know, we'll add the link to your website at the bottom of this. We can also add the link to if they want to get your book. Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you. Is there one sort of final tip that you'd like to share, or something that you think is really important for people to remember in regards to their health and wellness and mindset?
Well, if you don't make any changes, then nothing changes. So, if you find yourself making excuses, every time you find yourself making an excuse like, oh, I just don't have enough money, I just don't have enough time, I heard this amazing quote from Tony Robbins the other day. There are always enough resources in the world. So if you're complaining about your resources, you got to look at your resourcefulness. Failure is not about a lack of resources. Failure is about a lack of resourcefulness. So coaches, as you know, because you're a coach yourself, is a great resource to tap into to help you be more resourceful with all those other aspects that you just can't see the light at the end of the tunnel for.
Yeah.
And so I'm here for anybody who wants to make small or big changes.
Awesome.
Yeah. But it is 360 degrees. So
that's awesome. And I completely encourage you, if you're interested, to making those changes, to check Carla out. She's awesome. She's a fantastic human being, and she is a no nonsense, like, goal setter, results achiever.
As my clients become as well, because they become I don't take excuses.
No, that's fantastic. And it's really funny because I was actually having a conversation with a client just recently, and my client was saying, oh, I want to reach these goals, and so, but I don't think this one will work, so we'll reduce this one. So I think that's kind of a human thing, but it's great that there are coaches like you, Carla, to really help boost people.
Well, listen, I always think if you're shooting for the stars, you might get to the moon, but if you're shooting for the galaxies, you might get the stars.
Yeah. So, I like that one. Yes,
everybody, like on average, people hit about 30 or 40% of their goal. So if you set your goal low, that's how low you're going to, like, you got to expect to hit 30% of that. If you set a big goal for yourself, really get motivated and out there doing it, even if you only set 30%, that's already higher than most people set their goals at. So,
and this is really fascinating because I just want to ask you about goal setting, because a lot of people sort of take January as the goal setting time. What are your thoughts around goal setting? Can it be done anytime? Like, is there a magic way to sort of set and achieve your goals?
Well, I think January is a good time for a lot of people, just because it's such a milestone in the year. Everybody notices January 1st, right?
Yeah.
And everybody, and as a group, people are like, okay, these are our resolutions. But at the same time, there is all that pressure, because it is, it's not necessarily the best time of year to start, because, in most companies, you're kind of getting into a busier time because you're getting everything done before summer.
Mm-hmm.
So it does put a lot of strain. I think the best time to start a goal is whenever it's good for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the best way to achieve your goals is to have a good plan in place that's reasonable. And sorry, my house phone is ringing. I don't know if you can hear it. It never rings. Like, honestly, we have it just for my mom.
Telemarketers or something.
So the thing to do is to create a plan that works, that is reasonable, because I think a lot of people overestimate what they can do. It has to be something that's reasonable. And the way to, my personal favorite on how to get your goals done is to constantly set little rewards to every little milestone. So if your goal is to, I don't know, for instance, run 5 kilometers without, where you're just running, you're not like jogging, stopping, but you're just jogging straight through, then set yourself little milestone rewards. So like, for instance, when you can get to 1 kilometer of just plain running, then you go for, I don't know, like a nice meal with somebody. Or when you get to 2 kilometers, you might go for a nice massage. When you get to 3 kilometers, you might go for a half day, at the spa, or whatever floats your boat,
Yeah.
Set little rewards, so you're keeping yourself motivated.
Yeah.
To your own success.
Yeah. And that's the thing, I think, and I'm guilty of this as well. It's kind of like focus on the big one, and then you just like, you keep going. And then when you're at the end, you're like, woohoo! Oh man, maybe I should have like celebrated a bit along the way rather than just wait for the big one. But yeah, you're totally right.
But a lot of people never, and the reality is that a lot of people don't reach their goals because they haven't been rewarding themselves all along. There's been no clear plan. They're kind of like throwing it out there and saying it. They haven't properly decided to commit. And because they're not getting any return on it all along the way, they give up, because you lose motivation. It's only normal. We're human, right? So
yeah. And can you talk about goals and sort of having support in reaching your goals? Do you want to talk about that for a minute?
Sure. Well, coaching is a great tool. Yay. And it sounds like I'm like really trying to sell the coaching thing, but my example is like, okay, so coaching has recently become part of, life coaches, health coaches, well, there's a million types of different coaches, right? And it is a loose term that's often used when it shouldn't be used. So I call myself a coach, but I'm actually more of a mentor, let's say, because I actually help people with a lot of material. It's not just a phone call and then I leave you. Like, you call me, we work on a plan together, but we're working on it together. Like, there is support, there is guidance, there is help, there is encouragement throughout the way. So, so coaching is really good because it is unbiased, it is trained. And if you look at the Olympics, no Olympic athlete ever made it to the Olympics without a coach.
Yeah, totally.
So if you use that and you apply it to your life, oh my God, there's nothing you can achieve, right? Now, if coaching isn't for you, a lot of people are uncomfortable with the idea of one-on-ones, or they can't afford it, or whatever other excuses they're going to make.
Yeah.
But anyways.
So excuses.
Yeah. There's group coaching, which is also quite a bit cheaper. There's local groups, like meetup groups that shared interests. Meetup.com is a great website to find people with common interests and common goals. And just finding someone in your own entourage, like a family member or a best friend who wants to achieve the same thing as you do, and you create your rewards together and your milestones together, and you do things together. You hold each other accountable.
Yeah.
Now, that's great if you want to do something like achieve, run a marathon or like achieve that kind of goal. If your goal is to, for instance, let go of the past or forgive an ex-husband or something like, those kind of more emotional goals.
Yeah.
Then, I normally tell my clients, friends and family, unfortunately, they have your best interests at heart and they have their own opinions of what's happened. So they're not always the best support to get through a difficult moment in life.
Absolutely.
And depending on what that moment is, a psychotherapist might be better or a coach might be better. It really depends there.
Yeah. And I love that you've said this. I mean, also because I'm a coach and but I think there are a lot of people who don't understand. And I think you've made a really, really good point about how, I mean, there's nothing wrong with talking to your family and sort of getting them to help you and give you their advice. But there's such value and both of us have been through, we've had our own coaches as well. And it's just amazing the progress that you can achieve by having somebody really professional helping you and sorting out the story that goes on in your head and figuring out whether it's true or not. So I love that. And a lot of people don't really understand what coaching, which is one of my objectives anyways, especially through these interviews and helping people understand what's out there and what they can do, what's available to them. So yeah.
I think when you talk to a family member about something that you're going through, I think if you follow your gut, it gives you a lot of insight. Your gut is never, ever, ever wrong. And often, like a brother, a sister, a mother, a best friend will give you advice and you can feel yourself. Like I know certainly for myself when I went through the separation, I have friends who I would talk to them about it because I just needed to vent. I didn't necessarily want their advice or their help. I just needed to vent, but it would put them in this spot where they wanted to make sure that I was okay. And they wanted to help me. That's where their, the goodness of their heart came from. But at the same time, the end of a marriage is always a sensitive issue. And it would make them feel uncomfortable about their own situation, about how fragile marriage is and so I would inevitably, after 20, 30 minutes of talking to them, feel angrier afterwards than going in. And that to me is already a big clue how friends and family are there to help, but at the end of the day, they're there promoting their own ego, their own fears, and their own, because, a lot of people, even though they won't admit it, they say they want the best for you, but they know that if you achieve it, it's going to make them feel bad. So all this plays into their advice with family and friends, whereas a coach is neutral. A coach is there for the client, to help the client, and it's all about the client. It's about really the client understanding themselves better, growing better, and really standing more firmly on what they want regardless of the world around them. And you don't get that elsewhere. Like it's particular to coaching. And and you look at athletes, for instance. That's what they're all about. They find a way to get their goals done, and it doesn't matter if it's if it disturbs the family life or whatever. I mean, it obviously matters to the family, but if the athlete has this goal, then they're going to get that goal no matter what. And it's about being true to yourself.
And overcoming the voice inside your head that says, maybe I can't do this, or maybe I should sleep in a little longer, or maybe I should, not go for that practice or run or eat the food or whatever the situation may be. Fantastic. Well, Carla, this has been such a fantastic talk. Thank you so much. Thank you for, sharing all your information. As I said, we'll include the links for your website and your book so that people get those and they can get in touch with you if they need. So thank you very much for your time. Thanks for your generosity.
This has been wonderful. As always, I love talking to you.
Yes. I love talking to you. So thank you and have a very nice rest of your day.
Thanks. You too.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.